once again, hey guys, all that I'll say is all the best for the quiz. Take it in a very chill manner, just as Narans has said, and I would also quote Melissa Villasenor. It'll be awesome. So just be hooked to your screens, and we'll do the quiz in the most awesome way possible. Right? Please put on the slideshow, Kanaka. Right. So we have the rules on the screen. Essentially, how we're going to do this is there will be 15 questions in the quiz because there's a large bunch of students. We also have to evaluate each answer sheet. So if we had put in 50 questions, we won't be able to evaluate 50 questions per 100 students, right? So we have 15 questions and they'll be very clearly able to determine who are the best ones. And maybe we'll plan something different or maybe even the offline mode for the best ones who are the top scorers, right? So each question carries equal number of points. There are no negatives. I'm just a generous guy, honestly. I don't like negatives. So you can take your hunches, you can take your guesses, just throw whatever is in your head onto the screen. I don't care, blabber whatever the crap you want in the Google form. And essentially, how we're going to do this, the question will come up on the screen, and I'm putting a link, a Google form link where the serial numbers are mentioned. There's first a section where you'll have to put in your details, and then there's a section where the question numbers or the answer numbers in serially are mentioned, and you'll have to answer them respectively in that Google form. So you see a question here on the Zoom meeting, and then you answer it in the Google form, right? In the Google form, the question text won't be mentioned. You'll just have to mention the answer. As I put in the Google form link, it will become more clear to you all that what you exactly need to do. Yeah, Jayant, what is your question?
So I was asking that it will be option like we have to write.
What do you mean by that? Of course, there won't be no MCQs as such. This is not a quiz that you used to do in class 4 or 5. It's a little different. These are more analytical questions in the sense that,
like typing.
Yes, you'll have to type in actual words. The words which you read in dictionary, you'll have to type them in here.
Okay.
Right? Okay. Yeah. What is your question, Ishan? Followed by Shahwar. How do you pronounce that? I mean, I have a weird name. I know people have a hard time with my name, but I can't pronounce this one too. Yeah, Ishan followed by Shahwar. Please go on with your question.
Sir, will there be different Google forms for different classes?
No, the questions have been set in a way that it will be able to assess all the classes together. So it's the same set of questions for everyone and they'll have to answer, right? Because, when it comes to the senior quizzing, the whole 6 to 12 range, often enough quizzes together. And the questions are set in a manner that all of them will be able to use their brains, if you have any, to answer them in whatever mode is mentioned, right? Is that it, Ishan? We'll move on to Shravan. What is the question?
Yeah, my question was that will the Google form link be provided in the WhatsApp group or in the meeting itself?
Okay, children, let me clear all the doubts to all of you. See, here we have made one Google form in which you have to fill certain details of yours. Okay, then you have a question over there itself. After filling the details, you will be moving to the questions and you will be writing the answers and all. It will be posted in the Zoom chat itself, children. Then you will be attempting these all things. Hope I am clear to you all. And let's begin because we have another session as well.
Yes, sir, definitely. Could you put the Google form link in the chat? I'm also doing the same.
Now I have given you, it is with you, Sakib.
Yes, sir. Okay, sir. I've put the Google form link in the chat. Everyone, please, also Shower, please put your hand down and just go to that link, open the form, just look around what details are required and fill them in. I'll give you 3-4 minutes to fill those details and then we'll proceed on to the questions.
So kindly remove all students who are there without their video.
Yes, sir. Guys, you'll have to keep your videos on because that's one way we can monitor you in an online quiz, which is already a hard task.
But also is there, Navya is there. Just remove them.
But if we change, sir, but if we change it, sir, like to the meeting, to the question
paper,
sir,
then
video will
I'll answer it to you. I'll answer
Yes.
it for you. So essentially, when you change tabs, I get that the video gets switched. What you can do is either you can go in the split screen mode, or you can take a second device to answer the Google form, right? So in both the cases, your thing won't continuously keep on flashing back from on video to an off video. So just either get a second device or put your phone on the split screen.
And see, children, these all things, it is being monitored. So be very honest. Don't dishonest yourself.
Yes. So is everyone on the Google form, and have you all filled the details already?
No, please wait.
Yeah, I'll put on the link again. 1 second. I'll just spam it a couple of times so that everyone can get it.
Akshita
that should
Singh
be-
9D. She is without video. Akshita Singh 9D.
Yeah, so what I was saying about keeping your videos on is that, it's an online quiz and we all know what goes on in the online mode. So
Excuse
it's
me.
better if you keep your yeah.
My video is on. It's showing that my video is on my screen.
All right. So are you even switching between tabs?
Yeah, when I was filling the details, I think so that time
Yeah.
my video.
So what you can do is put your phone on the split screen. By that, the video won't constantly vacillate between on and off. So just put your phone in the split screen mode. Right. So what I was saying about keeping your videos on is, I've been trying to say this for the third time. So essentially, the thing is that if you keep your videos on, that'll be one way
Excuse
we
me.
can monitor you.
Nice.
Thank you for interrupting me for the third time. Yeah, please go on.
Yeah. Actually, there is a problem in the in me. I'm
In
trying
me,
to fill the
there's a problem in
details.
you.
No, not in me, but in the Google form. There is an option for email, and then there's another option for email ID. So what do we have to do in each of those?
It's the same
Separate.
thing. Yeah, basically the issue is that when we put an email collection thing in a Google form, then the Google form once asks you by default for your email ID, and there's a second time that we have put in a voluntary question, right? So fill in the same email ID twice.
I guess one is for our email ID and the second one is the parents' email ID. It's just
Either
after the
ways,
parents.
whatever, we just need one email ID at the end of the day. So whatever you put in both, it will work, right? Just put in a valid email ID in either or both.
So sir,
and
it will be
just
okay
good
that
to
we
go.
put our email ID in the first one for the response getting, and below the parent's name we can write our parents' email ID.
Anything works, honestly. As I said, one email ID in any of the two will work.
Okay, now
There's
time
just so
starts.
many questions.
I've filled all the details.
You don't need to say it out loud, okay? You guys, please just keep yourself muted and just keep on answering it. This is a quiet practice, so we'll do it as calmly as possible.
And after putting your response, once you get the response sheet, you leave the meeting.
On the laptop, I don't think the screen freezes, even though you change between tabs. There was a question on the chat. So it's fine. Like on laptop, you can easily shift between tabs and do whatever you want to, go to incognito, do whatever you want to, I don't care. Essentially, now what I was saying was, the fidelity of a genius is that it requires an audience. So I don't want you guys to be geniuses. You guys should be cooler kids who get to answer questions and don't get to share it with other people. Don't find audience in your accomplices. So just try to keep the answers to yourself. Don't share it among you. And it's the best for you, right? And the quiz is going to be cool. The questions will be very deducible. You'll be able to look at the questions even without prior knowledge, just with basic amount of awareness. That's what we require in quizzes. We just need a minimum amount of awareness. And from there, you can easily build on answering questions, right? So just with that, you'll be able to deduce these questions and answer them in the chat. So just look at the screens well, okay? And I'll give you ample amounts of it, right? So I guess we're good to go. Everyone is ready. If not, don't say it out loud, okay? Just put it in the chat because there are too many people just speaking continuously, right? So that that breaks the flow. So put it in the chat if you have any other queries at the moment. Okay, so there's a section in the form which says, say something about yourself. And I mean, that says something about the question itself, right? You have to give an introduction of yourself. Yeah, Ishan, you won't be able to see the questions because I haven't put them on the screen yet. I'll be putting them on the screen in the Zoom meeting in the form of slides, and you'll be answering those questions in the chat box. A chat box as in on the Google form serially as per the question numbers mentioned there, right? So the Google form is only for the answers. Questions won't be mentioned in the Google form. The questions will be mentioned in the meeting. God, you guys have so many questions. I'm not used to handling 100 people at once. How much time will be getting to complete all the questions? That's another question on the chat. That's not my broken grammar, please. Dilip, this shared screen isn't black. I can see it, and I believe everyone else can too. I believe it's an issue on your part of the connection. So just maybe try to rectify it. Ayush, you know, this is like a quiz. Quizzes are subjective, right? So we'll be going on with the flow, and I can give you as much time as I want. Okay, while I'm reading the question, while I'm trying to give in hints, whatever suits me, wherever my flow leads me, I'll give you as much time. So there's no fixed stipulation as such. Right? Yeah, Yeshi, please go on.
Yeah, for parents' name, we can put like any of our parents' name or like only father's name.
No. We are feminists here, so we can put in anything there. Okay, even if you have non-binary
Okay,
parents,
thanks.
we don't mind it. So yeah, I guess everyone is ready. Please, everyone should be ready by now. Okay. I also can't see the screen. Please, just shows. I guess this is an issue on your part. Is everyone else, guys, who can see the screen, just raise your hand. Everyone who's able to see the screen, raise your hand. Yeah, put it down. So there's a good amount of people who are able to see the screen. Whoever is not able to, it's an issue on your part. Your connection is weak, it's feeble. We can't help it. Get hold of your internet service provider and maybe, I don't know, murder them or whatever you want to. But yeah, so it's not an issue on our part. Just everyone put your hands down now. I want to see my face. I don't want to see your faces. Yeah, thank you. So all right, everyone is ready. We are good to go. Advita, please put your hand down. What do you have to fill in? Say something about yourself. Just put in anything, literally. Just tell us something about yourself. If you are an octogenarian, put in octogenarian. I don't care. Just give us something about yourself, an introduction, maybe of a word, maybe of a line. It could be anything, whatever suits you. How many lines? As I said, it can be a word. It can even be a syllable, honestly. You can just say duh, and that's it. So, yeah, so we're good to go. Is everyone ready? Just raise your hands if you're ready and put them down immediately. Right.
Just can I rejoin again just in a second?
Yeah, okay. So we'll begin at 12:04 sharply. Please, everyone put your hands down now. We'll begin at 12:04. Until then, everyone get your issues sorted. If you don't, it's not my accountability, right? Siddharth and Ritu, please put your hands down.
Sakib, we have another meeting at 12:15.
And I don't think we'll be able to wrap this up by 12:15. So tell them that once this meeting gets completed, then only we'll be able to hold their meeting later.
Actually, you are a host now, so you have the details and all right now.
Yes, sir. So please tell the other participants who are not there in this meeting that we'll hold the second meeting later once this meeting is completed. All right. So we'll be beginning in a minute. I hope everyone is ready. I don't know, whatever you want to put on a sombrero or a thinking hat or whatever you feel groovy in. So will there be different questions in the next meeting? Possibly there should be. I'll look at the number of participants will be there in that meeting and accordingly alter the question. You don't need to worry about this. You're in this meeting, right? So why are you thinking about the next meeting? Will there be mathematical questions? Guys, do you realize that I was in arts? So of course there won't be mathematical questions, but there can be mathematical questions, but I won't ask you to solve, I don't know, trigonometry or integrations. I'll just simply put in questions about mathematicians, maybe. I don't know. You don't know. It's a general quiz, right? So anything can come from anywhere. So you need to prepare. Just be prepared for everything. You just don't. You just won't have to solve integrals here. I can assure you of that. Right. It's 12:04. We'll be beginning with the quiz now. All right. So put on the first question, Kanika. Yeah. Question one. It's a fairly simple question. In 1880, Captain Charles X was managing land in Ireland where poor harvest struck. The tenants then refused to do anything with Captain X. You know, the whole thing in this question I'm asking about is X. Okay. In the end of the protest, so these peasants are protesting against a certain Captain Charles X. Um, and I can see some of you typing very vehemently, looking down on the screen. If you're Googling, you might not find this on Google. So supplies were shipped to the estate from England since no one would deal with him in Ireland. In the end, the protest was successful and X's name became synonymous with targeted ostracism. So what I want you to think about is protests, right? And a word associated to it. So from a certain I'll give you another end. From a certain Englishman's name, this word came up and it's used very frequently today. If you go on Twitter, half of the time it is just this happening. Okay. So I want you to give me this word X, right? I'll give you some time, think upon it. And what could this word X be? I have given you so many hints. Targeted ostracism. Ostracism is basically, trying to. I'm trying to be very choosy with my words here so that I don't give away extra hints, abundant hints here. So ostracism is basically trying to seclude certain sections of people away from the society. So that is targeted ostracism. There is a word called protest. Think about it, something synonymous with it, and an Englishman. Okay. So which word could this be? I won't give you more than 5 seconds on this now. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Yeah, Avik, I know when to go to the next question. I can face it. Just I'll do it myself, right? You don't need to tell me. Let's move on to the second question now. Let's put on the second step. Also, we may or may not be going back to these questions, whatever time permits. So this might be the only time there's plausibly the only time you are seeing these questions. Question number 2. The meaning of an X is something which is ambiguous, right? Ambiguous basically means causing doubts. You're not very sure, you're not very clear with what it is. So it is usually used with context to something and symbolizes hidden knowledge or intent. Zing may be used to tease someone and is surprisingly physiologically impossible to do by some people despite its simplicity. So basically talking about a certain gesture, as mentioned in the last line. So this gesture has varying meanings in different societies. An X also has different meanings geographically. In parts of Asia, including India, it is often considered to be an impolite or rude gesture. And in Africa, an X is used by parents to signal their children to go back to their room. So, something in India is considered to be impolite. A gesture. Just think about a gesture which is considered to be impolite in India and can have different meanings in different cultures, right? In different ethnic communities, in different geographical areas, in different territories, they have varying meanings. One I've mentioned is about Xing, which is in China, and then there's another in Africa, right? So it's the same gesture which has a totally different meaning in a different part of the world. So you need to tell me what is this gesture X. And I'll give you another hint. A thing that you all are doing currently, if you do the half of it, this will be it. And this is not a direct hint, of course. If you know it, then if you know like the answer, if you know X, this hint might connect back to it. But yeah, you all are doing this double of this thing currently. Yeah, so that is this question, and we'll be waiting for 5 more seconds on this again. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And we'll be moving on to the next question now. Please put on the next slide. Question 3. The top line reads Rahul Gandhi. Also, some of these questions are from our past quizzes too. So the people who were members of a quiz club previously would be benefited here. So it's always good to be a part of the quiz club. Yeah, so the question reads, tradition dictates that this item of clothing is never ever washed. Right? Modernity has changed the practice a bit with the advent of easy dyeing to various colors. Focus on that, various colors, dyeing. But in the ancient era, the tradition supposedly ensured that the final color of the cloth would be achieved via national needs, and this experience darkening slowly. What am I talking about? Think about a certain cloth, certain piece of garment, which is found in various colors. Again, Rahul Gandhi is not a very direct hint there, but it will connect back when you get to the answer, right? So thus, and this cloth was supposed to, get dirty. So as certain people went on doing certain activities or exercises, and they darkened slowly. This piece of cloth just darkened slowly through that rigorous experience of that exercise, right? So you need to tell me what this thing could be. What am I talking about? It's a very interesting question. Okay, when you see the answer later, when I'll be discussing all the answers, then you'll be amazed to just look at the funda that goes behind this thing. Right. It's so irksome to, try to evade certain words while trying to dictate a question. Like, it's so hard, honestly, just to put in the right words so that I don't give away too many hints for you to easily work it out. Yeah, Shevar, please go on with your question. What is it? And don't reveal the answer if you have it.
Yeah, understood. I wanted to ask that do we have to write the name of the fiber or the type of garment?
How would you write the name of the fiber in this question? Like, if you're thinking of a fiber's name, then you're totally wrong already. Yeah, it is a type of a garment. And it is something very specific, a very specific type of garment. Only worn by a certain kind of people. And Rahul Gandhi belongs to one of those kind of people. I won't confuse you here. It's not something related to politics. Come on, I'll give you that hint too. I want more people to answer this question. Now we'll be moving on to the next question. Your hints are more difficult than the question. As I said, these are very indirect hints. They won't directly give you the answers, but if you know the answer, it will connect back to them, right? So just look, the slides are the easiest thing, okay? Reading is the best form of perceptibility. So just read from the slides and you will know what to do. Let's move on to question number. Yeah, Shevar, please put down your hand.
Okay. Now I'm going to take the attendance.
All right, so we are doing the fourth question now. Identify the missing person and give the funda, right? So you see Manny, Tyre, Bhutan, Thor, Frigg/Freya, question marks, Sol. So you need to tell me what these question marks are. Try to, I don't know, maybe look at an acronym on the screen. Try to look at a certain pattern, on the screen, and you'll be able to figure out what this could be. There might be some initialism there, okay? You can just think about it, look at some initialism there, and you'll be able to figure out what it is. Honestly, if you just give me the funda, it will do it for me. We have to write the name of the god is the question. We don't know if it's a god. We don't know what it is. We don't know if it's a human, if it's a celestial body, if it's a plant, right? So I won't be giving that to you. You won't be able to figure it out from the god funda in there. What you'll be able to figure it out is from a certain acronym, an initialism, something acrostic in there. I'm not defining those words because that would be a giveaway. But yeah, just look at your screen and look at it well, and you'll be able to figure it out. So essentially in quizzes, we throw in similar patterns, right? But you have to just look at the screen and recognize a pattern, and then you'll be able to deduce those questions. And this is one of those questions, So maybe just take a good hard look at it and you'll get it, right? We'll move on to the next question now. Put on the fifth question.
Uh,
Yeah. Someone had a question? Yeah, fifth question is up on the screen. So it's a very long question. I'm not reading all of it, but I'll give you the general gist of it. Bavarian X was an Enlightenment era secret society founded in Bavaria. So they used to carry on certain activities, and they wanted to, claim the state power, and firstly chastise the people who were in power then, who were reigning then, and try to capture that state power and establish the order of the day. Nowadays, like, this X is associated with an international conspiracy, and it is also, back in the day around 1789, 1790, it was the same X was also associated with the French Revolution. So it was associated with the conspiracy then, and it is still associated with the conspiracy. Some members of this certain organization X allegedly are Eminem, Beyonce, Jay-Z. So what could this X be? All these three artists, right? These three are musicians. So several celebrities are alleged to be members of this very ivory tower like secret society, which is behind international conspiracy theories currently, right? So what this could be? You need to tell me, what is this X? Honestly, just think of conspiracy today, and the first name that strikes you can give you the answer. Also think of geometry a little. That's again a very indirect hint, but maybe think of geometry and international conspiracy. That will help you narrow down the answer. Yeah, Akshat, please go on with your question and don't give us the answer.
Sir, understood. Nothing more than that.
All right. Yeah, Kushal, you've got the answer right. I'll give it to you, but don't send it to me on the chat. Okay, just put it in the Google form. For a second, I was worried that you had put it to everyone, but no, it's just to me. That is good. But don't send it to me on the chat. Put it in the Google form. We'll be moving on to the next question now. Put on the next question, Pranika. There are 9 more questions to go, so I'll be dashing through this now. Yeah, the top line reads, "I'll be the archer, I'll be the prey." It's just a very indirect hint. You don't need to ponder upon that too much. That's actually also a lyric from a Taylor Swift song called "The Archer." So the question reads, the word X originated in medieval Europe. Back then, castles were prone to attacks by enemies. To keep themselves safe, the powerful owners had their castles built with vertical arrow slits known as X's. So these X's were vertical arrow slits through which one could shoot arrows. There's still people coming into the meeting. I guess they got disconnected in between, but yeah, whatever. So essentially, there were these slits made in the castle wall so that the defenders can shoot arrows. And the others who also used to exploit these gaps to shoot arrows back to the defenders and cause harm to whatever their sort of military was. The current definition, it's a rather metaphoric definition today, is gaps that can be exploited to avoid consequences, right? So this is the current definition of this. This is a word which was there back in medieval Europe and is still around today. We use it in the colloquial language. It is ever present around us. And it is also used a lot in sports, right? This term is used a lot in sports. So that's where you might have heard it. And I'm very sure that all of you have heard this term, right? So focus on the definition: gaps that can be exploited to avoid consequences. All right, we'll move on to the next question now. Question 7. So it's a question very different from all the past questions. It is related to Indian mythology. I'll give you that. Since X was not born from a womb, but from a vessel made of leaf, he was named X, which means vessel made of leaf. The name has very ancient origins and is perhaps related to English tree, which comes from tree, which in turn comes from daru, wood. However, come to think of it, a popular utensil made of leaf is still called Y in India? Give me X and Y. Even if you give me one, I'll give you the whole, I'll give you full points. Because honestly, if you get one, you'll be able to get the other. So you need to tell me X and Y. X is a certain person slash character slash human being slash not so human being slash a part of mythology slash maybe a part of reality. We don't know, right? It's essentially just a person slash character. Okay. So you tell me what X is. His name comes from, his name actually means vessel made of leaf, right? So you can give me X or Y. Y is a popular utensil used even today, and you all know about it for sure. So that's a very short question, a very brief question. We'll be moving on to the next one now. Right, questioning, very interesting. In 2003, US did something it is pretty much known for, attack a Middle Eastern country. Of course, of all the NATO allies, US didn't get the support of X, a European country whose name is pretty famously associated with food in popular fast food culture. Think of a European country and a name associated to it. So as a retaliation of this move, the couple of US lawmakers decided to change the name of these popular fast foods in US capital cafeteria to teach X a lesson for its self-serving politics of passive aggression in this effort. So essentially, what had happened around 2003 was there were Iraqi missions going on at that point, and there was a coalition of willing formed in Europe of certain countries aligning with the US in the effort. Okay, so they had sent in forces into Iraq, but there was a certain country which had retaliated, which said that it won't support the US efforts and saw it as barbaric. Don't send me the answers. Whoever is sending me the answers, just don't. Okay. So, so in retaliation to that country, as a response to that country's stand, US decided that it will change the name of a certain popular fast food to something more associated to the American culture instead of the X's culture, right? What did they change the name of the food to? Also identify X. Some of you are not able to answer, are able to access the Google form again. I'm putting it in the chat once more. 1 second. Yeah, it's in the chat again. Just take a look at it. Yeah, so you need to tell me what is X or what is the fast food and what did the name change to, right? I'm more focused on the fast food and the name change. So try to give me that instead of the country's name. If you give me country's name, I'll just give you part points. I won't give you the whole thing, right? So that was question number 8. You have eaten this fast food very surely. And the name change, the American version, is something more associated to the current American diaspora. Like the right wing is using this word to push forward their propaganda, right? It's something which you saw on 6th of January 2021 too. If you can get what that is, you'll be able to figure out the answer, right? Let's go on to question number 9.
Can we do this?
I guess Kanika has lost control of the slides as she had already lost control of her mining. So Kanika, please tell us when you're ready to put on the next question. Until then, you guys get extra time to answer these questions. Be frenetic with it.
Yes.
Yeah. Yes, the 9th question is up now. Norse gods are closely associated with the Vikings of the early Middle Ages, yet are still worshipped. You know what Norse gods are, right? Almost a decade ago, after a surge of popularity, why could that be? Almost a decade ago, this thing is still very popular. Is the Google form opening for everyone? Because there's a query on the chat which says the Google form is not open. It's opening for everyone else. Yes. Just nod your head. Just nod your head. Don't raise your hands. Nod your head. Yes. So it's opening for everyone else. I believe it's an issue on your part. So essentially, to tell me, basically the United States military included X, okay, X, a certain, I'll say, weapon of a certain Norse god, on their list of religious symbols that are approved for use on the headstones of veterans. What is X? What could this X be? Why was that surge of popularity around 2012? You might know. This thing which I'm talking about is still popular today. Even today, like especially today, it's popular and would get way more popular in about 3 months' time. And I won't try to give you more about that. But yeah, essentially to tell me what is X, what could that weapon be, or what is that character? It's a little hard to name that weapon. You would know it is a little hard if you were Paul Rudd. But yes, so if you can just give me the god or the character that we are talking about in the question, that will also work, right? So that was the 9th question. We'll be moving on to the 10th question. Why are people still coming in? It's 12:30. Don't you guys have to sleep or do classes or something? Like, I guess they're getting disconnected and coming back in. I didn't give the answer. I didn't give the answer. I just gave a hint which would have given the answer. So if you're able to grab the hint, you'll be able to answer it, right? Let's move on to the 10th question. Let's move on to the 10th question, Kanika.
Yes.
Kanika can never get 10s in life. She had a hard time with 9s too. So it's such a topical joke, which I'm sure maybe only the class 12 students will be able to get it. Yeah, the 10th question is up. Let's see what you can do with this. So fiddle around your fingers and try to figure this out. It's rather popular. If some of you might have interacted with this certain thing. X is a Japanese concept that means a reason for being. The word refers to having a direction or purpose in life, which I clearly don't. That which makes one's life worthwhile and towards which an individual takes spontaneous and willing actions, giving them satisfaction and a sense of meaning to life. The term is made up of two Japanese words, meaning life, alive, and quote unquote, an effect, a result. Don't send me the answers on the Zoom chat. Put it in the Google form. I won't be reviewing them at the moment, right? Which term that has become popular worldwide, particularly since 2016, because of a certain pop culture phenomenon. I call this thing pop culture, even though it's not associated with the other cooler stuff, which is part of the pop culture. But I believe it's very integral to it. So you need to tell me, what is this X? A Japanese concept. A Japanese concept. Honestly, just think of as many Japanese words as many Japanese things you would have heard of in the last year, in the last 2-3 years, apart from sushi, and try to figure out what that word could be, right? Try to think
There
about
is
it.
a type of food.
No, I don't know. I won't tell you what it is, right? If I give it to you, then you'll be easily able to figure it out. Right?
See, children, this is a screening test. No hint.
Yes, sir. So we are done with the 10th question. The question is fairly simple. The answer is very easily reducible. So we'll be moving on to the 11th question now. So basically, this Greek goddess can run and fly at great speed. So we are basically talking about a Greek goddess which has wings, a billowing robe with a wreath or staff, and can run or fly at a great speed. Her Roman name is Victoria. Which Greek goddess are we talking about it? No, Shreyash, this is the first session itself. We are 11 questions in. We have 4 more questions to go. I'm trying to take my time on each question and trying to explain each so that you're able to at least grasp something out of the session. And I love how the attendance has remained constant throughout the meeting. It has not fallen below 100 even for once. that doesn't imply that you guys start leaving at the moment. Okay, it shouldn't be.
Shakib?
Yes, sir.
Will we be able to conduct the second session at 12:45? Because I think 4 questions left, or
So
before.
let's try, but
Okay,
I won't commit to
because
it. Let's just finish this and then let's decide on it.
quizzers are keep asking these all things. And let me tell one thing to you. Let it be very clear. Those who are there present in this session will not be allowed in second session. So I hope you understood this.
Exactly. Everyone who's there in this meeting, you had the opportunity. Just like grab it, just put in your answers. Using the word opportunity makes me sound so old for some reason. So yeah, that was the 11th question. You need to tell me this Greek goddess's name. Yeah, Shever, you have another question. Honestly, I've asked more questions in
Actually,
this quiz than
my screen is not refreshing. It's still on question number 10 due to some reason.
I believe it's an issue on your part. I guess everyone else is able to see it. So just try to fiddle with
Can
the
you please
connection and
tell me the
see.
question number 11?
Yeah, I'll redo the question. Okay, just put your hand down and I'll read the question. Siddharth, yes, what is your query?
Sir, I had just joined this meeting when question number 10 was going on. So, sir, I didn't get to attend the previous question. So, sir, can I
You
join
leave the
the?
meeting. Just a minute.
The
Just a
same
minute.
here.
You leave the
Sir,
meeting. You
Sir, I also
second
could
session
not.
we will be beginning at 12:45.
Okay, sir.
Okay, sir.
Sir, so we can leave now.
Not everyone.
I have
If you were there
asked
since
such
the start, right?
students. I have asked such students who have joined just now. Though I have
No.
attendance, I have posted in the group. You check whether your name is there or not. I am
Narayan sir
asking to
at 12:15 to join us.
just see the group. The message it has been posted.
All right, everyone.
Yeah, carry on, Shakib.
Yes, so we're done with. Okay, so I'll redo the 11th question for the ones who are not able to see it. This Greek goddess can run and fly at great speed. We're essentially talking about a Greek goddess, can run very briskly. She has wings. She is dressed in a billowing robe with a wreath or staff. Her Roman name is Victoria. Which Greek goddess is this? That was the 11th question. We'll be rushing through other questions now. Put on the 12th question, Tanika. I want the 12th question on the screen. All right, one of my favorite questions. Girafarig is a dual type normal / psychic Pokemon introduced in Generation 2. Girafarig's tail possesses a head of its own. The tail's head has yellow eyes, a mouth full of sharp teeth, and a small brain. So essentially, there's this creature, this Pokemon, with head on both ends. On the tail, there's a head. On the face, there's a head. I mean, maybe on the head, there's a face. But yeah, this creature has heads on both the ends of his body. So, and it's called Girafarig. What feature in its nomenclature? You know what nomenclature is? Nomenclature basically refers to the system of naming. Okay. So something very specific about naming this Pokemon refers to its two-headed appearance, right? So what that thing is, what that specific feature is in its name that refers to the appearance of this creature, right? Mohammed Rayan, I believe it's an issue on your part. It's an issue on your network's part. So try to rectify it. We can't help it if your internet connectivity just falls out, right? So the 12th question is on the screen. I'll repeat it. Basically, there's a Pokemon called Girafarig. It has heads on both the ends, as in there's a head on the tail and there's an actual head there. And there's something specific in its nomenclature which refers to its two-headed appearance, right? Two-sided appearance. What could that be? Let's move on to the 13th question on that note. Nomenclature basically refers to how you name things, right? It's the like how Girafarig is named. So we refer to that as nomenclature. Right. So we are on the 13th question now. The title X is taken from a painting by 20th century Mexican artist Frida Kahlo. In Spanish, the expression used to acclaim life. The painting reflects the artist's irony of acclaiming life while suffering physically. This is a reference to Farida Kahlo's strength, enduring polio, a broken spine, and a decade of chronic pain. So you all know Farida Kahlo, right? That artist who was portrayed by Salma Hayek in one of the movies too. So she had a lot of suffering throughout her life. She went through unimaginable agony, and still she was able to produce those exquisite works. So X, the word that I'm looking for, X literally means long live life. And it is subtly, I would say rather explicitly, irrespective of what the question reads, explicitly and coldly, focus on that, coldly makes mention of Roman cavalry corps and Saint Peter. Think of something in the pop culture and think of the Roman cavalry corps under double quotes. So it definitely refers to the usage of those words in a certain thing. What could that be? Give me X. What could that be? Just play with the question and tell me what could it be. I'm throwing in so many hints on this one. Let's move on to the 14th question now. This is X's filmography. Identify X. We know him for a very different reason, a very famous / infamous man wherever your ideology lies. So I hope no one calls him famous here in this meeting. So you need to tell me who is this person X. There are mentions of several appearances. There are few ones which are pretty distinct, and you might be able to get the answer from them. On the television thing, you see the mention of the Fresh Prince of Bel-Air. So I can assure you it's not Will Smith. This is not a question about Will Smith. You might get confused with the current happenings, but it's not Will Smith. I'll give that to you. And the second last line on the television thing reads, "The men who built America." Think about that, maybe. Think about that. Maybe that can give you something. You need to tell me who this X is. Let's move on to the next question now. Let's go on to the 15th question. This is the last question of this quiz. And I hope you guys did well in the quiz because I tried to make the questions as easy as possible. Question 15. One of my favorite questions. This is like one of my absolute favorite questions which I've ever made. And I actually made this while watching a show called The Umbrella Academy. And this thing was going on. This song was playing. And it hit me at the moment how this could be made into a question. X Not Y is this song made in 1953 by a band called the Four Lads. It was written on the 500th anniversary of the fall of Y to the Ottomans. You know Ottomans, right? They ruled the area surrounding Turkey and also expanded their empire further towards the Byzantine side and towards east. A more popular rock version of the song was released by They Might Be Giants. This version was also used in the Netflix show, The Umbrella Academy. It's a Netflix show where like people are just having superpowers and fighting. That's what happens in most of these superhero shows. Doesn't it? The show also features Elliot Page, an amazing actor. You need to tell me what this song is. Some lyrics from the song are as follows: X was Y, now it is X, not Y. Been a long time gone. Y, now it is Turkish delight. Now it is Turkish delight on a moonlit night. Even old New York was once New Amsterdam. Even old New York was once New Amsterdam. Something to do with nomenclature again. Why they changed it, I can't say. Changed it. People just liked it better that way. So take me back to Y. No, you can't go back to Y. Give me X and Y.
Tisha Roy, your video is off. Roll number 397B. Tisha Roy, turn on your camera.
So my video is on.
All right. So essentially, we're talking about a sort of an irreversible change brought into something due to a change in the regime. So what could it be? Y was also associated with the name of a certain Roman ruler. And I would say that ruler was very popular for the Christianization of the Roman Empire. So if there are any history students in here who studied class 11 history, they would know what I'm talking about. But even without that, this question is very, very easily workable. And most of you would know what this could be. All right. So this was the last question of this quiz. Now I would expect you to turn in your responses in the Google form. There are already 6 responses. Wow. Nice. It's good that you have already started sending in your responses. Please send in your responses, and Kanika, go on to the next slide, which just reads, oh, you've closed the thing. Wow. Put on the slide and put on thank you for them. Okay. There's a beautiful graphic that I've put in, so consider my efforts. Yeah, so we have received 23 responses on the form yet. We'll wait for others to send in. You won't get much time. I'll close the Google form once about 95 responses have come in, because those were the number of students who were there in the meeting. Also stay in the meeting. We'll discuss the answers once. It'll be fun. Yeah, just put that pretty thank you on there.
Okay, so with this all we are at the end of the first session of this screening test. Hope you
So we'll
people
just
have
discuss
enjoyed.
the answer once. So we'll discuss the answers once, and maybe then move on.
Take 5 minutes more because 12:45 already scheduled announced.
Yes, sir. So we'll try to do it from 12:45. All right. If you submitted it, don't tell me on the Zoom chat, honestly. It's so distracting to see the Zoom chats pop up every time I'm trying to speak something. My mind just turns so blob. But yeah, just send in your responses in the Google form, and we'll evaluate
Okay.
it. We might tell you the results by today evening
Sake,
or tomorrow morning.
Sake, we can do one more thing. We can post the answers in the group itself.
No, so I would rather like to look at the acumen of these students, like how they were able to deduce the answers. So we'll just do a few questions and then we'll just discuss a few answers, and we'll do it very quickly. And then we'll try to move on to the next session. All right. I've only received 56 responses. I'll give you 1 minute more, and then I'm just shutting the Google form. You won't be able to send any more responses if you haven't already. We'll put in different questions in that session. You don't need to worry about it. Hriday, you have just joined in, right? So we are doing a second session from 12:45 or 12:50. Please join in then. There will have a different set of questions, and we'll have you'll have to answer them again. You'll have to go through a screening test then. There's 69 responses on the form. Nice. We'll wait for others to respond.
So, okay, children. Thank you for such a nice cooperation and coordination. So because of that only we could conduct this all session. So I hope you people have enjoyed, and see, this is the beginning only. We will have a sort of series of these all sets of quizzes and all in a week. So children, you just prepare yourself hard enough to perform well, and so the reflection it will be there with your prizes and many more things it will come to you. So once again, all the best to you all, and just next week once again we will have, and you people are only getting this opportunity. I'm going to facilitate you, I'm going to make you aware and understand. I'll be giving you the questions and all, like Sakib, we all have worked in a team like that, so we are in a condition to conduct this all. So I hope you people have understood this all thing, and you people are also coming forward and talking to me and just having this all session in coming days. So all the very best, students. Now you can leave the meeting.
All right, so we won't do the discussing answers bit right now. We'll do it later if possible after the second session itself, because we're running very short on time. We have to start the second session in 2 minutes. So yeah, so everyone who's part of the first session, please leave the meeting. Please leave the meeting altogether.